Picture this, trading a promising career as a skiing champion for a shot at becoming the world's top tennis player. This was the high-stakes gamble Jannik Sinner made at just 14. In this video, we'll uncover the dramatic leap Sinner took from the snowy peaks of South Tyrol to the glitz of professional tennis, revealing how leaving his family and hometown for a new life led to groundbreaking success. Watch until the end to know his bold decisions, from overhauling his coaching team to reinventing his game, and how these moves ultimately propelled him to become the first Italian ever to top the ATP rankings. Imagine a young boy growing up in the picturesque mountain town of Sesto, nestled in the Dolomites near the Austrian border. This boy, named Sinner, wasn't just any kid. He was a prodigy in skiing. By the age of 8, he had already clinched a national championship in giant slalom, and by 12, he was a formidable contender. His hometown, Sesto, is in South Tyrol, a region where German is the primary language. And so, naturally, German was Sinner's first language. But Sinner wasn't just a skier. In the warmer months, he juggled soccer and tennis, displaying a natural talent in both. Then, when he was around 14, life threw him a curveball. An offer from former Italian tennis pro Alex Vitor to move to Bordighera on the Italian Riviera and train full-time at Riccardo Piatti's tennis academy. This was a turning point. You see, Sinner's skiing career had started to lose its shine. He began to struggle physically, unable to keep up with the demands of the sport. "I was winning a lot when I was young in skiing, and in tennis I never won," Sinner recalled. The precision required in ski racing left little room for error. One mistake, and your chance of victory vanished. But tennis, he realized, offered second chances. In tennis, you can make mistakes. You can lose points but still win the match, Sinner explained. And so, he made the bold decision to leave behind his family. His father, Johann, a cook at a local ski lodge, his mother, Sieglinde, a waitress at the same restaurant, and his older brother, Mark, and embarked on a new journey in Bordighera. There he lived with the family of Luka Cvijetkovic, a Croatian coach at the academy. It wasn't easy, leaving everything familiar behind, but Sinner pushed through, adapting to this new life. "From one day to another, I was changing my life," he said. Sinner's calm demeanor might make it hard to believe, but beneath it lies a fierce competitiveness. Just 2 years after joining Piatti's academy, he turned professional, bored with junior events. The 2019 season marked a significant shift for him. He won a tournament in Bergamo after entering with a wild card and later triumphed at the next-gen ATP Finals. But Sinner wasn't one to settle. In early 2022, shortly after breaking into the top 10, he made another bold move, overhauling his coaching team, parting ways with Piatti, and bringing on Simone Vignozzi and Darren Cahill. "I wanted to throw myself into the fire," Sinner said, embracing the challenge of trying a different method. Vignozzi noticed Sinner's strengths, his powerful ground strokes and relentless determination, but also saw areas for improvement. Together, they worked on diversifying his game, adding drop shots, net play, and refining his serve. Around this time, Sinner also brought in a new fitness coach, Umberto Ferrara, to help build his body mass. "I hate him," Sinner joked, but he knew the hard work was necessary. The physical and mental demands of tennis were grueling, but Sinner was determined to push through. Curiously, when asked about his recent success, Sinner didn't focus on his victories. Instead, he spoke about the tough losses that had shaped him. 2 defeats in particular left a mark. The quarterfinal loss to Carlos Alcaraz at the 2022 US Open and a 4th-round exit at the 2023 US Open to Alexander Zverev. These moments, though painful, became catalysts for growth. Sinner recognized that while he was mentally strong, there was room for improvement. "I started to accept my mistakes and work on these small things, which at some point can make the difference," he said. And make a difference they did. Sinner finished the 2023 season with an astonishing 20 wins out of 22 matches, securing titles in Beijing and Vienna, and even defeating the seemingly unbeatable Novak Djokovic for the first time. His journey continued at the ATP Finals in Turin, where he once again faced Djokovic in a match that became the most watched tennis event in Italian television history. Although Djokovic eventually triumphed, Sinner had already made his mark, leading Italy to its first Davis Cup title since 1976 and extending his winning streak into 2024.
Sinner delivers, and this Turin crowd goes crazy.
Imagine facing one of the greatest tennis players in history, someone who has never lost a semi-final at the Australian Open and holds 24 Grand Slam titles. For most, the pressure would be overwhelming, but for Jannik Sinner, calmness was key. "I lived this whole trip in Australia with very calmness," he says, reflecting on his journey. Even when up against Novak Djokovic, Sinner approached the match with a unique mindset. "You have to do the right thing," he explains. "Tactically, you have to be perfect. Mentally too, because he's never gonna drop down." The challenge was immense, but Sinner focused on what he could control, playing point by point with the right mentality. The tension rose when Sinner reached his first major final against Daniil Medvedev in Melbourne. Down 2 sets, many might have thought the match was over, but Sinner saw an opportunity in the fact that Medvedev had played more hours on the court. His strategy? Patience. "At some point, my goal was to keep him on court as long as possible," Sinner recalls. He waited, hoping Medvedev would tire out. But as the minutes ticked by, the window of opportunity seemed to be closing. It was a nerve-wracking situation. Then came a turning point. In the 3rd set, Medvedev began to show signs of fatigue, making unforced errors. Sinner, sensing the shift, found his confidence again. "I said, okay, now I feel confident again," he remembers, with the crowd now rallying behind him. Sinner won the 3rd set, then the 4th. The match had come down to a decisive 5th set, a moment he had prepared for mentally and physically. Grand Slam final, 5th set, tough situation to be in, Sinner says. But instead of faltering, he thrived, hitting the ball with newfound precision. After the match, Sinner's unorthodox English and deadpan humor charmed the audience during the trophy ceremony.
They are supporting me, understanding me, which sometimes it's not easy because I'm still a little bit young sometimes, but it is what it is.
Later, when asked about the pressure to meet expectations, he responded with a phrase that captured his unique approach.
I like to dance in the pressure storm.
For Sinner, pressure is not something to be feared but embraced. "You have to be kind with the pressure. You have to make friendship," he explains, offering a glimpse into his mental toughness. Despite his rising fame, Sinner remains grounded. He owns a house in Monte Carlo and drives an Audi RS6, but his heart belongs to his hometown, Sesto. Every Christmas, he returns to ski with friends and indulge in his favorite meal: fried chicken and vanilla ice cream with berries. His parents still run a guest house there, and his brother Mark is a close confidant. Reflecting on this whirlwind of success, Sinner remains humble. "I take it I won't say normal because it's a situation I've never imagined to be in, but to see people happy, that makes me happy," he says. But what excites him most is how his achievements are inspiring more Italians to take up tennis. "In Italy, we are a great country of sport, and now people start to play a little bit more tennis," he notes with pride.